so. Is there anything else? I'm not.
Whole lot of Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, no, that's what I had to. My mouse wheel is actually dead from all the scrolling of the 259 VODs.
I know, right? I've got a lot of. I have a lot of stuff to talk about in a couple weeks.
Atlas Fallen. That game came out.
Oh,
I'm excited. Let's go.
Always good.
Woo!
I had very high hopes for Atlas Fallen, as I have been one of the people that have sung the praises of Surge 1 and 2. I really like Surge 1. I feel 2 was an improvement in every way. I love Surge 2. I feel like Atlas Fallen in a lot of ways is a step backward.
Yeah.
It's like the story and the world weren't nearly as interesting. The delivery was very lackluster. There was like the kind of actiony. The world itself was not nearly as engaging as I was hoping. It was very kind of bland. The whole intro sequence was very just not like it's just a whole lot of it. I came in with relatively high expectations, and by the time I was kind of done with my time with my couple hours of it, I was kind of like, I don't feel a need to return to this game. Like it nothing really grabbed me about it. There were some things that did pretty well. Some of the combat was kind of cool. It was a little clunky, but it kind of worked. Some of the mechanics for changing and altering things were pretty cool. It looked like there was some customization that was, especially as I got towards the end of the game, was starting to come to light with, the armor upgrades and things of that nature. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like with Surge, I felt immediately connected to those games and right off the bat wanted to, explore it more and find new weapons and find new armor and do all this stuff. And this game just in a lot of ways felt like a big step back. It just felt like a big step back. I still really hope one day they'll make a Surge 3. And I hope that this game does not impact that possibility.
Yeah. Kind of released at an unfortunate time.
Yeah. The timing also was like I might have been able to give this game, and I probably would have given this game more time if I was not doing other things and looking forward to other things so much. But the release timing of this was abysmal. For my personal schedule, I should say. So I don't have the time to give it more time than I did. Yeah. I may return to it one day, but if I don't, I won't be losing any sleep over it.
Gameplay wise, I got the initial vibes of like a little Monster Huntery. Is that at all close to the combat?
It's a little more actiony. It's definitely a little more actiony than Monster Hunter. Like there's active dodging and you're pulling and jumping away and things. So it feels a little more like kind of an actiony Souls-like, but it is pretty clunky. And there were definitely multiple times when things didn't really click as they should. Like by the way I was feeling it just wasn't quite that tightness that I like in games like this was not really there. And that definitely impacted the fun factor for sure.
Okay. Did you do any co-op or was it a single player adventure?
Single player only.
Okay. I think Burke was doing some co-op, but I didn't see if I know he's not playing it anymore, but he's also got that Baldur's Gate addiction as well. So that might be why. So yeah, rough time, I think, for this game to come out. I'm actually curious. Not that it's indicative of how well it's done, but it's kind of indicative. I'm going to Steam DB it and see how many people are playing. You guys want to guess?
2,300. Oh, wow.
2,500, 2,300. The 24-hour peak is 800.
Oof.
The current players right now is 669, and the all-time peak is 2,679. So that game didn't do great. That's rough.
That hurts, man.
Yeah.
I like Deck 13. Somebody said, "Is this like Forspoken?" I did enjoy this more than I enjoyed my time in Forspoken. There is a chatty sidekick that you wear in this game.
Of course,
the tangents were. Of course, there is, but it wasn't nearly as annoying. It was just flat and not very good. instead of like annoying, which
Yeah.
you know was an actual detractor in Forspoken. And but you know, so I did like this more than Forspoken. Yes, I like the gameplay more than Forspoken too. But it's still that's not really saying much. You know.
God, can you?
It's like,
hold on.
It's
hold
like,
on,
do you like getting punched in the face or kicked in the ass?
Did
Like, which is, you know,
Forspoken come out this year,
wait, did it? No.
or was that last year?
January
year?
2023.
There you go. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a year.
Well,
sure.
The other thing is, probably those motherfuckers are really proud of their games. Forspoken 70 and this one 50. So like that probably doesn't help.
Yeah, well, that's the Square Enix, I think. That's the publishing. Because this was who published this?
I want to say Deck 13
Focus
is a publisher
Entertainment.
generally.
Focus
Yeah, so
Entertainment
Deck 13 was the
yeah.
dev and the publisher was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's weird. It's weird because Surge 2, especially in so many ways, feels so much better than this game. Like I feel I don't know
Combat wise, yeah.
what changed. Just combat wise, like story wise, like voice acting and direct. Like it's just again, it feels like this game in many different categories is not really on par with their previous project, and their previous project at this point is years and years and years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a very strange situation. I do very much hope we see a Surge 3 one day, and it's a worthy successor to Surge 2 because I don't think we'll be seeing an Atlas Fallen 2. So
jeez, yeah.
We'll see where it goes.
Huh.
Maybe it had less budget. Maybe, dude. I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know. There's a palpable feeling of a difference. Like it definitely something's different.
Less to do about this game in particular, but me bringing up, and I see a lot of content creators do this, and I see a lot of people do this. Being able to bring up the Steam numbers has become kind of a big trend to like judge a game recently. Do you guys like that? How do you feel about that?
I think it's very interesting to know who is the amount of people that are actively playing a game. Yes. I don't think that it should necessarily be an end-all be-all metric, kind of like reviews in general. And I think a lot of times, especially for games that, you know, the whole campaign is 10 hours, it doesn't really help checking the numbers weeks and weeks later when everyone's already done with it.
Right.
I think the peak number's interesting. I think the fact that there was not more than 2,600 people playing it at one time on the day of release, I think speaks very highly to the time and the marketing behind the game. You know, that's a big important number. I think you can kind of, but this is all post-mortem stuff. I don't think it really necessarily speaks about the game. I think it speaks a lot of times to when they released, how they released. It can speak to how good the game is, but you know, not always.
Yeah.
There's also been a lot of hidden gems with a lot of low numbers. Great games that just didn't hit it big publicly. So
yeah,
you know,
I feel like
they're context numbers. That's the best way to say it.
It's
you look at those numbers and then you get the context behind them, and that's what you do.
It's
like,
the number one way I've seen like both people champion a game. Baldur's Gate 3 is victim's a weird word here, but people are doing this with Baldur's Gate 3 right now, in fact, because it's once again at 800,000 plus people playing it on a Sunday, just like it was last week, which is crazy for week.
Sunday apparently is the Baldur's Gate player day.
Everyone loves Baldur's Gate on Sunday. All the old folks are not working, so they can play the game.
You think it would be Saturday or something, though? I wonder why Sunday.
I don't know.
And Friday night and stuff like that. Why are those days not big? It's
weird. And it happens a lot with like live games. Path of Exile. I mean, I did it earlier, mentioning how many people were playing that, and like they didn't hit their all-time high. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
It's a fun
being
point
able
to have because we don't
yeah.
get to do that, or we haven't been able to do that for so long with console titles because there's no. Steam is such like a center of PC gaming that you can't go to like Xbox.com and be like, oh, how many people are playing this game at this point? I don't think you can, at least.
It's also important to mention that Atlas Fallen was on consoles as well. So, you know, that it could have been, I think it was. Yeah, on Xbox, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, those numbers could have been bigger, but